You may have seen what has happened in the last couple days with this. We've done quite a bit to try to get the parts that we think we need, but we're still 50-50 on the fence of what we're actually going to do with it. Taking everything out of this, basically plopping in the one we got outside and calling it a day. Now, I had no problem doing that. I had not even a second thought in my mind about not doing it until I got a better look at that shell, and it's got, you know, it's got some rust right here, like this one. Not as bad as this, obviously. This thing's pretty gone. Basically from right here forward, it's crinkled. The radiator support, the headlight mounts, and that is all crinkled. And so I didn't really want to, I don't know, I wasn't informed it was in a front end. And I was just told that it was parted out and that it could make a good shell. And that was the intentions I was on. The pictures didn't really show the damage, so I went for it. You know, I didn't spend a lot on it. I actually probably spent more in diesel to go get it than I did on the actual car. So now we're kind of debating on what to do. I'm pretty positive this diff is just totally shot. Now I'm hoping it didn't damage the transmission. You know, I have a couple options for this guy. We have a trans sitting over there that was it's Bradley's 350Z Brad. You know, we could buy it off him. Pretty sure it's the same ones out of this. The throwout bearing and everything looks the same. I just need to check the numbers. There's another one of the 5-speeds in the blue parts car outside. The shifter feels crappy. I'm guessing it's bushings, but it felt like it wanted to click into every gear, so that's an option. I have 2 diffs that I can try, and I think I'm gonna pull both. I'm gonna work on getting this one out today. And, well, I know it's shot for sure. It feels like crud, and it grinds, and it's bad. We're gonna pull it out. I'm gonna try. Every nut and bolt under there is just like complete rust. So I have a feeling the gas axe or the oxyacetylene torch is gonna be out a lot today. And so I'm not gonna film a whole lot. I'll try to do as many updates as possible. But as of right now, probably from the title of the video, this whole OUTBACK Sport revamp, or whatever I'm gonna call it, this OUTBACK Sport adventure, it's at a slow start. Hope to up the game with content and videoing with this episode, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, right now it's the nitty-gritty stuff. It's gonna be a chore just to get it out, and then I'm still pondering the process of this thing. Like, maybe I'll cut the rear out of the other one and try to weld it in. I've never really messed with putting a panel in like that. Like, luckily, everything driver door forward's pretty good. Like, yeah, it's rusty underneath, but basically this fender forward looks pretty good. But yeah, these rockers are shot, and I don't know what to do. Like I said, today I'm gonna get at it, getting the old diff out, assessing damage, and yeah, on to the next. Here's the diff. Typical Subaru diff. Couldn't tell you the gear ratio. I don't know off the top of my head. But I just soaked some of these nuts and bolts with PB Blaster, because they're trash. Look at these. That's Wisconsin. God, those things are so toast. Like these, those nuts are stuck at the end because of how rusty they are. So now I just am working that not rusty, probably stainless stud right out of the diff cover. Alright, it's a little dark because the light's on the other side, but yeah, the diff is out. I can't pause the music right now, so I apologize for that. It's brutal, huh? But yeah, I struggled to get the drive shaft to rotate, so I jacked up the whole car. It wasn't in gear. And then of course I jack up the car and wasn't in gear before. Messed with it, still wouldn't rotate, and then all of a sudden it started rotating. So I don't know if it was all the diff's fault or the transmission, I don't know. But I'm gonna look into that too, check all the gears, you know, play with the drive shaft while checking every gear. But yeah, I'm gonna drag this thing out. It's pretty sure it's toast, so. I'm outside on the trailer actually. This is the parts car we picked up last night. And I don't know why, maybe because I was just feeling ambitious, but I'm out here seeing if I can pull this diff. I figured the easiest, quickest way, as of right now, is pull it with it on the trailer, because I don't have an extra person to help me drag this thing off the trailer into the garage. It's missing a front wheel, and this wheel here is locked up. So I got some of the bolts or nuts loose, and I'm working on the front drive shaft, like cradle area, whatever you want to call it. And it's very hard to do this. I am not skinny, and I squeeze in here, and holding your arm over your head while trying to apply force is very tiring. So yeah, this is great. I'll see if I can try to get this thing out. I guess the only thing, I have to get creative with getting the axles out. I'm gonna try to save them because they don't look bad, and I torched the other ones as you saw. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get this out. Ugh, suck. So of course, all of the nuts and bolts came out except one, and then trying to get it off, it's spun. It's like lock, has like this square piece on top of the diff that the bolts run through and holds them in place so you can loosen and tighten, and that just round it off so you can't grab it with anything. So I'm gonna actually end up cutting it. So that's what I'm doing, and it sucks because we were doing so good. I'm gonna try not to set myself on fire, but this is really shitty. Alright, boys and girls, just before the sun went down, there she is. Cut that bolt, had to wiggle it because this stud didn't want to come out apparently. That one right there. But I left the axles in because I didn't run an extension cord for the impact, but then I had to for the grinder. But I figured once it dropped down, I'd have enough room to pop them out. I might even put them in that way, I don't know yet. But there it is. I'm gonna take it inside and take a break. Day dos. Car's up. Just got done sandblasting some stuff, so let's take a peek at that. You wouldn't be able to see anything through the screen, so these nuts and bolts are for the diff. I did all four just in case, but I'm gonna use these two that didn't get gacked, and these two I'll put in the bin. What else we got? Crazy on these. Like, I didn't even do the undersides, but I really wanted to do the bolt tops, and I'm probably just wire wheel those. So those are set. But I see what's going on over here. What are you doing, Rick?
No, connect the boom box.
The boomba. Let's go take a look at that. So Andy's gonna be a hearse. He's hauling coffins, base coffins. Dude, that'd be a good company name if you made like boxes professionally. Base coffins.
Isaac would have to do it.
Dude, yeah. Shout out to the main man, Isaac. What are the dimensions on this?
I have no idea.
You remember?
Not a clue. 2 to 30 hertz.
It's huge though. That thing's massive. It'll be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a great day. 22s. The Mafia Mobile. So, the plan. What is the plan? The plan. I cleaned up that hardware. This is the donor diff. It's a lot more rusty than the original. So I'm gonna try to clean this up a little bit with the wire brush. Not too crazy. See how far I can get it and just, yeah, throw it in and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get this in today. Fingers crossed. We'll put some fluid in it and we will see you in a bit. A little bit of heat. Both popped out just fine, and actually heating it got all this grimy shit at the bottom of the cover to loosen up and fall on the floor, but shh, that's a double win. So also pulled the axles out of the parts one outside. Those look really good. I wish I actually wouldn't have opened this up because I wasn't sure how much fluid was in it, and the fluid was nice and clear, yellowish, looked like maple syrup, and it was plenty in there. But you know, I did the right thing until snap this guy off, so I'm gonna have to weld a little nut-a-rooney to that and get it out. So I'm gonna cover this up to avoid splatter, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay, so God, where do I start? The rear diff is in. I cleaned it up, checked the cover, you saw that. I drained the oil. I threw in what little bit of gear oil we had. Now usually it takes about a little less than a liter to come out of the fill hole, and usually they say the easiest way to do it is just go until it's about coming out of that and seal it up. Well, did that. Put the axles in, all that's good to go. Now I was having issues with this being in neutral and trying to get the drive shaft to rotate, and that should have been a red flag to me, but I just was curious and didn't listen really. So I ended up putting it together and on blocks. When I say we, me and Andy, we jumped it because the battery's dead, and you know, it's obviously it started, but when you put it in gear and try to let out the clutch, nothing happens. The backs lurch a little, the fronts don't do anything, and then it starts to die and bog. And then of course when you give it a little bit of gas, you smell clutch and it wants to die. So we shut it off, and I'm pretty sure something happened with the transmission because the diff spins okay when you before I put the drive shaft on. When you spin one side, the other side spins, you know, like it should. And God, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bummed out. I was really hoping to just throw in a different diff and it would work, and you know, thought I'd get lucky. So I'm still a little bummed out. I miss this little thing. I don't want to see it sitting like this, and I don't know, it's just a bummer. Now the other part is where this gets confusing, or not confusing, but frustrating, is you know, I have this thing sitting here. This is Brad's, and I checked the numbers because it looks similar, and I don't know if it's still usable. I'm gonna do some more research at home, but I'm pretty sure from what the little bit I found is this is because of the code on the side here. That code does not match any of the other Outbacks I have in the lot. Google has said that this is probably a 2008, 9, 10, or 11 Impreza Sport. So it is a 5-speed. Obviously it's skinny and it has the shifter and everything for the bushings and whatnot in the back. I have no idea what the gear ratios are. The harness looks a little bit different. What harness? There really isn't. There's like 2 plugs, which I don't know. I would really like to use it. It feels like when you play with it, that's nice and stiff. It doesn't wiggle. It doesn't make noise. You can shift the lever yourself, and it spins nice and neutral. So it probably works good. Now, thinking that it won't, this car had this POS in it. And of course, this is exactly the transmission, and the code matches. And like it, you know, you can shift it. Kinda. Oh, crazy. It's gonna make a liar out of me. Maybe not. Well, anyway, if you come back here, of course there's no struts in that. That's not supposed to do that. That bearing, the input shaft bearing is toast. So that means that thing's gonna howl or not work very well. And then we got this thing. This is the older style single cam, but the transmission code is the same. So this trans will work, but I don't know the current state of this either. You know, this one could be missing gears for all I know. Like if you play with the shifter, I don't want to go in this car. I'm just gonna open the door for you. You can put it in like first and second easy. The third, fourth, and fifth are so sloppy you can't tell if it's in or not. This car smells like ass. The previous owner, if you watch this, fuck you. Seriously. This car is disgusting. You have alcohol spilt all over, sunflower seeds all over. I can't believe I had to get real sketchy with the gaskets. And I see they stuck to the engine. We don't even know if they're aligned. But yeah, I'm replacing that. So, might as well. If you saw the last clip, I was pretty down in the dumps. You know, I'm not gonna let it get me down. I'm still breathing. Callie's still breathing. You're still breathing. We're alive. We shouldn't be upset about a material thing. Even though, yeah, it sucks. We're still here. Let's do something about it. So, I have the cherry picker engine hoist on the EJ22. You know, I actually, truth be told, this is probably like the most even I've ever had. This thing on the WRX, I always try to take out the intake manifold to just bolt it square to the block. But when running the intake manifold, I always run into issues of like where to bolt this. But you know, on this thing, it was really easy. There's a lot of room. So this is awesome. So hopefully it separates from the transmission. I got it off the motor mounts now. Everything's disconnected. I know this looks cruddy. Everything should be disconnected, I should say. Try to wiggle it free from the transmission. I am doing it this way is I originally thought I would leave the transmission bolted up, take the axles off, the drive shaft, the tranny mounts, and all the plugs, and then just kind of the whole works out. But I really want to check a couple things. I thought it would just, you know, I got to take it off anyway, and I wanted to take the motor out to do like valve covers and check the timing belt and just kind of look it over. So I figured, you know what, just to make it easier on myself, because I'm probably gonna have to do this by myself, and to not put so much weight on this thing, because, you know, I trust it, but I also don't at the same time. It's kind of one of those things where your gut says, maybe you should just do it this way. So I went with it. Ooh, you gonna make it? After much troubles, it's out. Well, it's not out from underneath the car yet. I gotta jack up the front end to pull it out. The transmission jack doesn't allow it to go low enough. So the biggest problem I ran into is the little keys. These guys that they put into like the output that the front axles slide over, these get sandwiched in there. The driver's side popped out fine, but for some reason the passenger side one was kind of really messed up. And then I ended up getting my punch actually stuck in it real bad. A couple tricks, but I couldn't get it out. So long story short, the driver's side had a newer axle. This has an older axle. I ended up cutting this one too, so I can mess with it outside of the car. I'm gonna try to jack up the front end of the car now and pull the transmission out. And then that's probably it for today. It's like 3:30 now. I gotta leave by 4. Like I said, I got the engine out. A lot less oil seepage than I thought. I'm pretty positive that there was something wrong with the transmission, that I was leaking gear oil around, because the smell now of that burnt gear oil is definitely familiar. And there's a lot. Like, there's grime and stuff over here. That's pretty average. There's coolant spilled all over the place, because that was my bad. I kind of forgot about a hose. But the transmission, like the whole tunnel, is just covered in gear oil. And I know it's gear oil because it's just slightly yellow and it's fresher. And it's not oil. It doesn't smell like oil. So I imagine something happened with the transmission. Videos don't really do it justice. Wow, my hair looks terrible. It's all greasy and full of rust flakes. And I was hoping to have it driving before this weekend. That's obviously not gonna happen. What else? I don't know. That's basically it. Yeah, I might take Saturday or Sunday and just relax at home, since I know this isn't gonna be done this weekend. The main reason is because I don't know how I'm going to get the blue car in here, and it's sleeting now, and I didn't want to try to be under a car pulling a transmission with rusty bolts in the snow / slush outside. And like, yeah, there's room in here to bring it in, but it has a locked up wheel and it's parked in front of another locked up Subaru, and I have the truck. I don't know. Apparently next week is supposed to warm up, so I think that's how we're gonna do it. Anyway, that's gonna be it. That's probably gonna be all in this video. I will check back with all of you on how this is going very, very soon. And yeah, you know, motor, transmission, rusty car, Tyler, and that's all. We'll see you again next time.